I went through a personal experience, a valley, a challenge in 2012, and I realized that, look, I couldn't even sustain my health, and my health was going down the drain, and I realized that I needed to do something, and to be able to, cater for my family, for my children's health, health-wise, food-wise as well, because there was no time to eat, and because of the challenges we're going through, I didn't even have time to focus on, living healthy, eating healthy. So I went on a course, and I went through this course online. I researched and I found it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go for this course just to enlighten me on how to care more for myself in this journey.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of God's Value in the Community. My name is Irene Okunbiade. Today we're looking at yet another important topic, and that's one which affects a number of us. In fact, it's affected all of us on our in our day-to-day life. And today gives me great pleasure to welcome onto the program a woman of many parts, I call her, because she is into quite a number of things. But most importantly, I call her a woman of God because she is a woman of God. She is passionate about her faith and also helping others to develop in their faith and to live lives of value. Today gives me great pleasure to welcome onto the program Mrs. Wuraola Ekaji. Mrs. Ekaji, you're welcome to today's program.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure to have you. And might I say once again that you are looking absolutely stunning.
Thank you. So do you. You look fabulous yourself.
Very much. It's the grace of God. We thank the Almighty God for that. And today we're looking at a very important topic. However, before we do that, I'd like you to tell us, because I just introduced you as a woman of many parts. However, I'd like you to tell us a bit more about yourself. Who is Mrs. Wuraola Ekaji?
Okay. First of all, I am the daughter of the Most High God. I'm a mother of 4, by God's grace. I'm a wife. And I recently, a student until recently, and just completed my degree in international business management, and also passionate. My passion is really to mankind, to see everybody living a healthy life. So I'm passionate about nutrition, about people living a healthy life the way we used to live, the way they used to live in Bible times. So I have been researching, looking for a way out, especially in this time that we live in. There must be a way why people are living longer in those years. And then now, people are no longer living healthy and, even everything that we're eating. So I constantly, research and look for a way out to see that people look after their health.
Hallelujah. And I'm guessing because of what you do now, you must have found a way out. Because I had the privilege last Sunday of watching you in action, doing what you do, and you are doing it really passionately. We had quite a number of people, because it was a virtual event. We had quite a number of people on the program, and there you were telling us all about how to live healthy lives, and and quite a number of people are really interested, I find, in knowing more about their health and finding out how to live healthy, happier lives, because health, they say, is wealth, and the more we know about it, the more we can live healthier, happier lives. And so this health journey that you've been on, how long has it been that you've been on this journey? Because you mentioned that you were trying to find out more about it, and so that you can help people live healthier, happy lives as well. So how long has it been since you've been on this journey?
Well, I would say first and foremost, I've always been, even as a child, I've always been passionate about knowing about herbs, how it can help us, partly because I was brought up by my grandmother. So I've always been used to taking herbs, remedy, herbs, whatever happens. In fact, it was a daily occurrence. My grandma used to have a traditional clay. So we have the herbs squeezed in there. So you must take it every morning. Without that, you can't even have breakfast. So, and that really followed me all the way down to, I would say 1983, 85, when I came down to leave my mom, and everybody would be, a way of life in the city was to go to the doctor for checkup. And I remember going to doctor. I never liked going to doctors. And when they have to give them medication to take, I never liked it. I'm like, why are you giving me shots? So, and then after that, I was not just passionate, but everybody will go to the doctor. I'll write the apps to my mom to go and buy. And I'll put it together and I'll boil it and I'll start drinking. And people, and my siblings, the rest of my siblings will be looking at me like, you must be an alien. This thing is so bitter. Why don't you just take what you call chalk and just swallow it and forget it? So that has driven me passionately to dig in more until I went through a personal experience, a valley, a challenge in 2012. And I realized that, look, I couldn't even sustain my health. And my health was going down the drain. And I realized that I needed to do something and to be able to, cater for my family, for my children's health, health-wise, food-wise as well, because there was no time to eat. And because of the challenges we're going through, I didn't even have time to focus on, living healthy, eating healthy. So I went on a course and I went through this course online. I researched and I found it and I thought, okay, I'm going to go for this course just to enlighten me on how to care more for myself in this journey, so that at the end of it all, because I knew I was going through, so that when I come back out, I won't lose my health in it. So I wanted to just something to teach me on how to look after my health and the one of my family. So I went on that course and it was an eye-opener for me to see that personal nutrition is indeed very, very important. So from then on, just created that quest in me to know more. That, okay, I have people around me that are suffering. I have people around me that, due to some reasons or the other, and I have people that they've been on this health, they have health issues for years, and they've been on medication, and yet there's no improvement. So I thought, okay, I'm going to dig further. So I started researching. Well, I think it was 2 years ago, I bought the book called, I think, Eating for Your Blood Type. So I bought for my blood type. I started looking into the book. And after that, I found a book. I can't remember the title now, but it's Eating as like Eden Bible Time. I bought the book, I started reading, but I realized some ingredients in the book are some things that I really dated back to even during Christ's time or before Christ, the Bible times, And I started digging and I started researching. I said, okay, there must be something out there that people can use. Then 2 years ago, I had that big question on my heart. I thought, okay, especially in our community, I know a lot of people, and I know they call it a disease for Black community, diabetes and blood pressure. I said, God, there must be something in this. And that particular ailment is very common, especially where I come from. So I thought there must be something that we can do, because in those years in the Bible time and in the olden days, my grandma died. In the olden days, they lived longer. And my grandma died at the age of 125, just 50 years ago. So there must be something. And I was part of her life. And she wasn't taking medication. All she was doing was just eating. So I thought, okay, there must be something that they were doing right that time. So I started digging and I said, I put a question mark to God and I started praying. And I said, God, show me the way. Show me the way to know and to see something that can help mankind in this time. Something that we can, nutritionally, that we can just take, that will help our system to stand, this test of time that we are in. And that was it. So last year, even in the search, I went through to, somebody recommended a nutritionist who is now my mentor. So she now recommended some things to us and we took, herbs and all that, because I was actually inclined because I like herbs, but there was a particular ingredient that she gave and we took it. And these are the issues, an issue that has been going on and on with my husband for a while. And after 2 weeks, and I realized this issue was resolved. And I realized that, okay, there's more to this. I went back to her because I do a lot of research. So I was now beginning to be sleeping late. So there were the days I want to sleep early, I won't be able to. And there was time I couldn't sleep for 3 days. So I said, I called her, I said, okay, this thing has helped my husband. Is there something that can help me? Because I really want to relax and sleep. It's like my system is like on auto. What can I do to just calm me down? I said, oh, I have some sleeping pills. I said, no, I don't want to rely on sleeping pills. I want something natural that can work with my system. And she gave me this particular products. And one sachet, just one. And I said to me, once you're on your bed, that's when you should take it. So I went on the bed and I took it. And the last thing I realized that I didn't even notice anything until the following morning. I woke up at 8. And my husband was like, wow, this is the first time I'll see you sleep soundly. in a long time. And to top it up, I now woke up with very strong energy. I felt like I want to jump on the street and start running. I thought, something is in this thing. I want to find out. So I went online, as usual, because I'm a very inquisitive person. I went online, started researching, and I found out that, wow, the ingredients in this product is actually, some of them are the ones that I've read about in the book that I bought, Eating the Bible Time. And they're the olden days things that will classify as olden day stuff like Egyptian time, the Bible time. So I researched, and during my research, I found the company. I just went straight and I showed them an email that this is it. I like your product. He said, oh, you can't actually get this product directly because it's not meant for, everybody. What can I do? They said, okay, you must go back. You must get a number or get somebody that will recommend you to join. And I went straight back to my nutritionist and I said, look, don't show me, don't give me fish, show me how to fish. This is what I want to do. And that was it. She gave me a number and it's been, from level to level since then. It's been an eye-opener and it's been, grace upon grace. And I thank God for the opportunity.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you mentioned about the eating in the Bible times. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? What exactly is the difference, or what are the main differences between, how they ate in the Bible times? Was it what they ate, or was it how they ate it, the frequency? What was it? How is it different from now?
Okay. Eating the Bible times, the one thing I found out when I read that book was both what they ate and how they ate it. So it's like when we talk about our nutrition world right now, what we are eating right now compared to what they are eating, number one, our food right now has been tampered with. We have categories of food. We have organic, we have non-organic. In those times, there's nothing, like all they know is organic. What they eat, a lot of them, maybe they cultivate, they plant food, they harvest the food, they plant food naturally. So there's no, even if they have to use manure, it has to be natural manure. From plants, maybe from leaves, they will put it together and they will plant and, make sure there's no greenhouse effects because mind you, in those days, there's no motor vehicle and all these free radicals. There will be, but not as much as now. And there is also, the issues with, emissions, green gas, all those things. Those times, there were nothing like that. Even maybe not as much as now. And now, when we compare to now, we have a lot of food, even manufacturers, they've tampered with our food. They've injected our chicken. We are eating 1 week old chicken, 2 weeks old chicken, cow that is not, goats that is not even mature enough. They inject them, they make sure they grow faster. And saying that because the population then is not as big as we have now. Okay. So the manufacturers are trying to cope with the population to make sure that food go round. So they'll do everything. They will put, and then we have all this food cross-pollinated fruits, cross-pollinated this and that. In those times, they didn't tamper with nature. They were following the nature as God, created it. Creating food, creating plants. So things were growing in their own time. So I would say most of the time, and the way we cook as well, we want to eat vegetables, we cook everything until all the vitamins is gone. So there's some ways that we do that, which obviously in those days, people go to the farm, they just, put something in the fire, dig fire and put it inside and they smoke it and eat it naturally. So both ways we have been cut short in this generation with our foods.
Wow. Thank you very much for that explanation. And another thing I want to ask you is, you mentioned about some illnesses that made you, by the time you were going into this thing, you mentioned about diabetes, you mentioned some illnesses before that you researched on, and which has been a major source of concern for a lot of men and women out there. Do you want to talk to us about that as well? You mentioned about erectile dysfunction, infertility, and things like that. Do you want to share with us a little bit about how your research, what you have found in your research, how the remedies and how it's helping people out there?
Okay. Firstly, what drove me into the research was diabetes, big common in our community, and blood pressure. So during my research, I found out that this thing that they call the ailments of, Black community, and I found out that even people in those days when I was growing up, I would hear people having high blood pressure when maybe 60-year-old, 70-year-old. But now we have teenagers having high blood pressure. We have, under 40s having high blood pressure. And the worst part is they just drop dead. So it was so shocking and it was so alarming. I thought, no, something has to be done. And I found out that even during the course of the research, that there's so much pressure now than before. People have a lot of pressure. In the world, we have family pressure and work-related pressure, money pressure. So, and I found out, okay, apart from all that, there's some things that we need to put in place that, okay, once you know you have this illness, where do you go? How do you go about it? So I started research. I thought, okay, for a young person who has these diseases, they must be able to speak out. Even going to doctors, some of the time, they don't go on time. And I found out people who have headaches for months, for weeks, for months, and they're taking paracetamol and they're taking painkiller. And it's like a sign to the body. And as you buy an equipment, even generally when we buy an equipment, we have a manual. When the equipment is faulty, sometimes some equipment will give us signal. So I'm now beginning to think that analogy in our system that, okay, if something is wrong in the system, that means it's a signal. If you are having a headache, that means the signal that something is wrong in your system. So, okay, this headache, what could have caused it? But we know that when we take paracetamol, it suppresses the symptoms. It does not tackle the symptoms. So I thought, okay, like I said, because I'm an inquisitive person. Even when something happens, I want to know what caused this thing to happen. Yes, it's happening. I can see it, but why is it happening? So I thought, okay, let's dig deep. So I said, okay, if there is anything called headache, then I found out that there was different types of headache. So because when I was younger, I used to have migraine a lot. In fact, there was a time one part of my face was fuller than the other part. And I realized that, look, this is not, they call it migraine. I said, okay, but it's in the head. So I now thought, okay, let me find out more. So we found out that these diseases are not just coming up. There has been symptoms, there has been things that we just choose to ignore or we can't be bothered. So when people have sicknesses, which is why, I am, passionate, because when people have sicknesses, it's from the beginning, when your body is telling you something. What is your body telling you? Because your body will talk to you. But most of the time, we choose to ignore it. So where I come in is, when you're feeling something, speak out and speak to people that matters. Yes, speak to your doctor. Yes, check what you are eating. Because what I found out when I was reading the book, Eating for Blood Type, I found out that it's not everything that we can't eat everything, because we have different blood types, not blood group now, blood types, i.e. O positive, and so on and so forth. So when I was reading that book, it opened my eyes to know that there's some food that your blood does not want. It's a food that your blood cannot even digest. So therefore, because blood flows all over the system, so when something is wrong in the blood, it brings about inflammation. The blood is saying, I don't want this. Stop giving it to me. You start having inflammation in the system. And when there's inflammation in the system, that's where things start. Inflammation triggers a lot of illness, but people just ignore it. They take painkiller. But the body is telling you there's something that is in there that I don't want. So when I read that book, I thought, wow. So there's some things that I'm not even meant to be eating. And guess what? When I went to the realization is, because I was constantly having pain, inflammation, even though I was doing what she wanted me to do. But thank God she has a machine. She's put me through, and from head to toe, this machine will tell you from your brain, from what you were thinking about, your thoughts, they'll tell you. And then it will now be telling you some food that you're eating that you should not eat it. So it lists out all the food. And I thought, okay, which was what I couldn't actually figure out. And most, the irony of life is most of the things that you would like to eat, those are the things that the body does not want. And as soon as the thing came out, I said, okay, I'll give you 3 weeks, 2 weeks, go and sort it out. And as soon as I stopped, I found out I get less inflammation. In fact, if I want to create any trouble, when I buy that thing, I just feel like, now when I just buy and eat, even tiny bit, I feel it. My system just, swings to action and start rejecting, and start giving me a signal. Pain all over my system, all over my body. And I'm like, okay, I've stepped beyond the boundaries now. So it just got me thinking that, okay, yeah, this thing has worked for me. I've seen the effects. And even not just taking, not taking your medication. There's some food that when you even stay away from it, you find out that you're healthy. Your body is working normal. Your body is working fine. So I thought, okay, this is a good way to talk to people that, look, it's not about going to doctor. It's not about, eating good food. It's about eating the right food.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I like the aspect where you talked about when things are wrong, we really need to do something as soon as we begin to notice that something is not going well. Because I think a lot of people have this habit of waiting, and the first thing we reach out for is, the nearest painkiller to try and, but as you've also said, painkillers just suppress.
Yeah.
They don't actually cure, they don't actually heal, they don't actually solve the problems. But we're so used to. So that's a signal, that's a trigger. I mean, that's something telling us we need to look at something when something is wrong. And so thank you very much for that. So you've spoken about these remedies. And also, I believe from the way you're talking, some of these things, or eating some of these foods, or the right kind of foods, can help us to avoid some kind of illnesses as well. So we wouldn't even be in a position where we're having to look for remedies for these problems. So watching what we eat and how we eat them. And it's also interesting what you said about some foods we're not meant to eat. Some foods, we have no business going near them at all. And quite a number of us do not know that. What are the foods I should avoid? Mm-hmm. And so this is why the thing that you're doing, building the health awareness, going around, which you do on a weekly basis. And like I said, I was there last week, and a number of people, even men, were asking a lot of questions, asking a lot of questions about their health, because everyone wants to live. Yes. Well, most people do want to live, and they want to live a healthy life. So it's very important to watch what we eat, and also to pay attention when our bodies are telling us something, that we should really pay attention to those.